Adventure to me really is those moments that you find yourself in that you didn't expect. Those sights that no one's put their eyes on in a long time, if ever. The experiences of getting yourself into and out of situations that you probably shouldn't be in. I'm Yeti, this is Yolo. We're full-time adventurous. We've been living out of our Jeep for 430 plus days. We left on a camping trip and just never came home. So I like to say there's a fine line between full-time adventurous and homeless, and we're dancing that line every day. Like I said, it's been 300, 400 plus days. We've been living out of the Jeep, and really what it comes down to for me is I'm chasing that adventure, that high you get from a great weekend out in the woods or down at the beach. We've just been fortunate enough to roll those things together one after another. So the machine that I use for my adventures started off as a 1997 Jeep Wrangler TJ. It really was specifically built for weekend crawling trips, local desert, local mountains. Had no intention to do extended stay out of it, which with the evolution of that rig was kind of what allowed me to have fun and exercise my skill set with my creativity. I've kind of called it the birth of expedition class crawler. It's a super capable, challenging terrain rig that we've pushed 11,000 miles straight across country, and lived as raw as we can out of it. We've really found that some of the unique modifications we made to this rig were both create challenges in life and also help us in situations that maybe a milder built rig wouldn't really do so well in. Mechanically, I did the LS swap, went with, 5.3 V8 GM platform. Did G2 444s, chromoly axles, Eaton E-lockers, 35-inch tires, and real radical approach and departure angles help with the terrain, so we didn't need a massive tire size and lift to get through some of the nasty stuff that we find ourselves in. It really comes to keeping your tires on the ground, getting traction. Other than that, a lot of people talk to us about the rig and want to know what we do when it rains, and our answer is always we get wet. It doesn't have windows, doesn't barely have doors. It's full-time open rig. We've been in cab temperatures of 136 degrees. We've had icicles on the roll cage as we went through blizzards, and we've never once pulled the plug. We just always hammered down. So it's as raw as you can get with four wheels. Now that I've cracked out a year plus, almost 2 years of constant travel, it's hard to lock down my favorite spot. It's kind of turned into like a top 5 type of thing, and in no particular order, it's New Mexico, Utah, Oregon, Tennessee. Those kind of places are all unique to themselves, but hit a special spot for me. And we're fortunate enough to get to spend an extreme amount of time in any one place. We kind of make the call on that. It could be a 24-hour stay, it could be a 3-week stay.
One particular place that stands out to me that we visited recently, and we got there in the middle of the night and expected to leave the next morning. We ended up spending 4 days there, was City of Rocks. It's a little small campground, little tiny area. I don't think it's more than a couple acres of space out in the middle of New Mexico. And that particular spot ended up being just something very unique.
So one of the interesting things about living a vehicle-based adventure lifestyle is really paring down your life on all aspects, and it's personal belongings, necessities, and then just stuff. That was the hardest thing for me, is to do a big lop off of the fat in life immediately, and I thought I did a really good job of that. I know Yolo did a really good job of that, but every month that ticks by, I find that I still have too much. I have excess.
You go on a weekend camping trip and you're always like, I need a million things. What if it's cold? What if it's hot? I need a little of everything. Jacket, shorts, shoes. What if we go out to dinner? I need a nice dress. It's like, that's been a challenge. And I've learned that now all I really need is a backpack, because if I pack a backpack full and a crate that I can't always get to, it's not as accessible. I'm living out of the backpack for a month, so why did I even bring the crate full of clothes?
The tie-in with Biltwell is interesting. We were out on adventure. We were south of the border down in Baja, and we found ourselves in a hostel down there right on the surf, and we met the Biltwell guys down there. They were, I think, down there twisting throttle on their enduros, and it was like cement. We knew we were with our people. You know, 2 wheels or 4, it doesn't matter. We're all out there just trying to have fun. As far as the gear and stuff like that goes, as raw as our lifestyle is, the stuff that's built for the guys on the bikes makes sense for us. Some of the gear that we run regularly, and it cycles through, but the staple stuff that we source from Biltwell is the Xfill 115. It's the dry bag. It's the right size where we could throw our day bags, our daily carry kit in there when the weather gets nasty or even dusty on the trail, and use that to get it up into the shelter if needed. Our stuff's exposed all the time to the elements, so that's important, and that bleeds into the gloves. I'm a driver first and foremost. I'm always behind the wheel. Gloves are always on my hand. I'm getting out, I'm checking mechanicals, stacking rocks, collecting firewood regularly. Their stuff holds up, it's comfortable, and it looks good. So those things are always on board. I know Yolo rocks a bunch of stuff that she likes from them as well.
Those bags are awesome. We have the Xfill 7. I attached it onto the glove box, and it's become my own little personal bag that I'm in at least 10 times a day. Have all my little safety glasses, my knife, flashlight, all my little accessories strapped onto it. It's become my perfect little accessory bag.
So hanging with that crew, I get the urge to get back on 2 wheels regularly. I've danced with the idea of getting back on a street motorcycle again. Definitely shop regularly in every little town for an XR or something like that. We're in the market, we're looking. We'd love to do some of the runs with those guys, even if it was a temporary bike ownership, just to get out there and do that. I mean, the freedom really has huge crossover to what we're doing. When we reflect back, and I'm looking at some of the conversations Yolo and I have had in the last few weeks, the goals that we set a year ago to go out and kind of crush a cross-country trip and compete and do all these things that we planned on doing, it's all said and done now. And we're kind of looking around wondering what the next challenge or the next tempting kind of adventure is, and it really comes down to a couple things. I've been out of the shop for well over a year, so I want to get in and exercise my skill set in fabrication, build another rig or 2. We're starting to lean towards maybe a new adventure machine, maybe a bigger rig, a 2.5-ton military rig, something like that, where we can build a proper box on the back and go possibly up to Alaska or something like that. You know, so those are some goals that we're kind of playing with a little bit. We also get to see quite a bit of really beautiful land and environments that we already have fallen in love with. So homesteading might not be too off in the future, 5 years from now or something like that, find the spot that we want to post up and kind of disappear. But it's all unknown. We're
definitely creatures of change, I would say, as far as always changing up the scenery where we go. The next project is always around the corner, and we're always excited to try something new.